Welcome to the Rooted Family Podcast, how to mindfully root ourselves and our families so that we can grow strong and aligned. Join me, Erin Sadler, as we discuss all things parenting, kids, health, wellness, and developing a roadmap for life that has you and your family thriving, not just surviving. I am a mom of 3. I'm a teacher with a master's degree in education, a health and wellness coach, a brain health coach, and a life coach. I love coaching kids and grown-ups on how to grow in mindful self-awareness to strengthen connections that support healthy brains. I have developed my own program called Grow Strong Roots, which teaches preschool through 5th grade students how to mindfully integrate academics with social-emotional skills, self-regulation, and brain-boosting values, including kindness, gratitude, creativity, resilience, courage, respect, responsibility, healthy eating, and healthy movement. I have found my purpose, and it is to help families, children, schools, and communities learn how to turn stress into success and plant seeds of love, peace, and happiness that will grow and blossom. Speaking, coaching, and teaching the Rooted Family Method for growing strong roots and seeing children and families transform when they understand these concepts is my passion, because when we grow strong roots, we can withstand any storm life may throw at us.
Hey everybody, I'm so excited. The very first podcast. Just wanted to say thank you to everyone listening, even if that's only my mom, the first one. And I will make you a promise right now that in this first podcast, I will get better and better, and thanks for hanging with me this first one, and it might be a little rocky from the beginning, but we'll try and make it through. Let's just start out with things I love already about podcasting. Number one, I can show up with a hot mess bun in my hair and no makeup, and it's totally cool. Basically anywhere I can go where that is an acceptable thing, that's kind of my new jam. And if anybody else is feeling March Madness at their house like I am, then you will totally get this. We have 2 sickies at our house right now, and I was just thinking about it earlier today. March always gets me. I think it may be from my years of living in Atlanta and Georgia, because that's when spring like really rolls around. It starts getting warm, but I've lived in Wisconsin long enough that I should be aware that that's not how things are going to go. And it's been -10 here, and I think spring's coming. And then as soon as I think I smell it outside in the air, it's like when Lucy pulls the ball away from Charlie Brown. I'm thinking everybody feels that way in Wisconsin right now. Like Lucy keeps pulling the ball out. We'll get like a couple nice days, and then all of a sudden we're lying flat on our backs like Charlie Brown. And so with my sicko kids, I was thinking everybody was doing a really good job of staying healthy this winter, and then March rolled around and we've been in a sick house, but that's okay. It's helped me have time to do a little connection with my muffins and take care of them, which is good. A little bit about me. My name is Erin Sadler. From the intro, you probably gathered, I run the Rooted Family. I'm a mom of 3, lover of coffee. I make mindfulness and meditation a priority no matter how crazy life gets, and we'll talk a little bit in this podcast about why that's so important. I'm a life coach. I'm a teacher. I started my own preschool with my Grow Strong Roots program, which is the Rooted Family Roadmap. We'll talk a little bit about that. Health and wellness coach, speaker, kid, parent, mom, coach, and tutor. And what I do is use brain research to help optimize this life experience we're all going through. And if we can use that to help kids and parents, let's do it. For this episode, I thought I would give you a little idea of my mission in life and what drives me. And in the words of Maria Von Trapp, let's start at the very beginning. I promise I will not sing very much in this podcast, but I do love some Sound of Music, that's for sure. So on this where to start, I guess, when I'm thinking about where do I even start telling you about how this all came to be, it's sort of crazy because I'm on this trippy, cool realization that really everything I've done in my life has led up to this. And when I think about all the triumphs and the trials and tragedies that I've had, it's really just brought me to this moment in the Rooted Family and where I am today, and the fact that I'm even having a podcast and talking to you, which is kind of surreal. So number one thing you should probably know about me, I am not a perfect parent. I think sometimes when people see the rooted family and I go out and talk to people, they think I've cornered the market on perfect parenting. And so let's just get that out of the way from the get-go. I am not a perfect parent, and I don't aspire to be one. And you know why I don't aspire to be one? Because number one, I would be setting myself up for failure all the time. So if you have some of that, I got to be the perfect parent, please let's work on taking that off your plate. But what I am is an exceptional parent. And I have a little secret for you. You are too. If you're listening and you're a parent, you're an exceptional parent too. And you might be saying, how do you know that? Because you don't even know me. Because you're a parent. You got chosen. And I don't care what spiritual entity you align yourself with, or if you don't align yourself at all. But what I believe is that universally, when you became a parent, you got called up to the major league, friend. So we are all in the majors right now, anybody with kiddos. Before kids, we were all kind of minor league, and minor league is important because you need time to figure out the game and how you play it and get out there and screw up a bunch and have a coach yell at you and figure out how to get along with teammates, weed out who matters to you, who doesn't, what matters to you and what doesn't. And if you know much about the minor leagues, it's usually also a time to have some fun or start figuring out how to balance your life. It's definitely not an easy time, and you're usually eating ramen noodles and driving a beater car, but you really don't care all that much because all the other people on the minor leagues are usually in the same bunk with you. You guys are all hanging out at the same. And then all of a sudden one day, you get called up to the majors. You find out you're going to be a parent, and you're usually excited and nervous, and what you think about is, oh my gosh, I've been waiting for this moment. Or if you weren't expecting to be called up so soon, you might have a it's time to grow up now speech with yourself. Either way, you know you're about to go through a major transformation. And parenting is major league and hard work. It is next level as far as game, time, practice, patience, scheduling. Oh my gosh, can I get an amen? It's the same game of life, but at a level you never even realized existed. We always have the funny story of when I was talking to my brother and he would say he was so tired, and I was a mom of 2 or 3 kids at the time, and I'd be like, you don't even know what tired is, buddy. And then he had his own kids and he's like, oh yeah, it's next level. That's kind of what I'm talking about. When you get called up to the majors, everything sort of goes to the next level with that. So now you're an owner, a GM, you have a coaching staff, players on your team, players on other teams, fans looking at how you perform. And it's hard to quiet all that noise as a parent and find out what it is that it really takes to play the game on your terms, and keep the love of the game in your heart so that you can pass that on to your kids. Because if you are parenting and it is painful for you on the daily, or you're not finding joy in it, I want to help you with that. I want to have us all help with that, because nobody should go through this parenting deal and feel on a daily basis that they just don't enjoy it in general. And I would rather have you have a bunch of joyful moments with a couple sprinkled in of this is not so fun than the opposite, where most of it's not fun and you just have those couple sprinkled moments. So just making sure we get lots of sprinkles of wonderful parenting. And so here's the deal. I am here to help you make it in the majors because I understand how hard it is to play at this level. I do it every day. It is not easy. Sometimes one of my kids, my players, throws me a curveball. Other times somebody tries to steal third and I have to tag them out and send them back to try again. Sometimes one of them is trying to get a walk and take it easy instead of trying to knock it out of the park. So helping my kids and myself reach for their greatest potential and not just rest on our laurels. And sometimes we all get distracted by the guy selling cotton candy and soft pretzels, and we just have to take a break. It's just how life goes. Games get rained out, we hit foul balls, we strike out. But the most important thing is to always remember that no matter what the season looks like, we are all blessed, lucky, talented, and exceptional enough to get called up. Just the fact that we got called up means we have what it takes to be there, or else we wouldn't have gotten called up in the first place. Now, I've never met a coach who was like, yeah, no need to improve. Don't try and play your best out there. It's part of the game. Part of the game is continually growing, improving, maneuvering better, learning from our mistakes, and making better choices because of them. And that's kind of what the parenting game's all about. There's times when we're going to need to sit the bench. I think as parents, we all need mandatory bench time. Wouldn't that be nice? Self-imposed timeouts. I like to use my timeouts personally for meditation and reflection. Sometimes you need to sit the bench to gain perspective and to reflect. Sometimes you need to sit the bench to cool down so you don't get excited and sent back to the minors. It's cool. Use that time to gather your thoughts, figure out what you need to change, and move forward. I mean, I think in today's world, we just go, and we don't always take those bench timeouts. And what happens is we never really get to take the moment to improve ourselves by thinking about how we want to handle that differently next time. We just move on to the next thing. And it's really a detriment to us as parents and us as human beings that we don't take that self-reflection time. The key to getting called up is always trying to keep in mind that you got called up to the majors. And it was not a mistake. It was a gift. Even in all the chaos of playing, the fact that you are there at all is a gift. So what I've done is formulate a little guide for taking your team through the ups and downs of the minors. A roadmap to follow for when you don't know which direction to go, when your players are picking dandelions in the field, or rushing the umpire about a bad call. I base this roadmap on my background of education, teaching, parenting, and brain research. And while I could go back further, because you'll see the universal weaving of my story started long before 5 years ago, for the sake of this 30-minute podcast, I'll start with the day I realized what my purpose was and what I was supposed to do about it. So, this is the point where I tell you what my mission is. So if you want to, you can play the dun 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 dun. That'll stick with you for a while. My mission is to be the mindful alarm clock of what the HE double hockey sticks is going on today with our kids. Oh my gosh. It's a lot. There's a lot going on with our kids right now. And I am a kiddo advocate. So that means sometimes I will say things in this podcast that will not make you feel warm and fuzzies of modern day parenting. I might say things that are little nails on the chalkboard of the current comfort zone you live in. On the other hand, I may say exactly what you know in your heart to be true, but when you look around at the rest of society, it doesn't seem to do what you want to do, so you question your parenting. And I find that a lot when I'm talking out in the world and doing workshops, when I run into parents. A lot of times when I get done, they come up and they're like, I knew that. I knew that was right, but nobody else seems to be doing that. And we just need to have a conversation about what society is doing to our kids and how we cannot let the pressures of society dictate our parenting. And let me be clear. Status quo parenting today is leading to disastrous results. I am not status quo, and I beg, plead, and I will even bargain with you not to be either. And why? Well, let's just run through some stats. This is sort of what, when I realized this for my own kids, it just made me pause and think, oh my gosh, I got to do something. I got to figure this out. So let's run through the stats real quick. And if these don't give you a little stomach ache, then I'm going to have to get the bullhorn out and say I'm a little bit louder. They scared the crud out of me, and they may scare the crud out of you. But they're important to hear because then we have a jumping off point for change. So the point is not to make you nervous or upset or want to crawl in a cave. But the point is to be aware so that you can make the changes necessary so that you don't fall into these pitfalls of parenting. So from 2006 to 2016, teen suicide has gone up 70%, and it is still rising. Take that in for a minute. 70%. That is a major problem. And if that didn't get you, 1 in 3 kids will be obese. Obesity doesn't just have health issues, it has brain issues as well and limits brain functioning. 1 in 4 kids will have a mental health issue or disorder. 1 in 4. 1 in 5 kids will be bullied at school. 1 in 6 kids will get bullied on social media. 1 in 4 will get in a physical fight. 1 in 6 will think about suicide. 1 in 12 will attempt suicide. 1 in 5 will use drugs to alter their mood. And 2 out of 3 will not get the 1 hour of physical activity a day. Kids are at the bare minimum supposed to get to keep up healthy body function. So just for a moment, that was a lot I just threw at you. Feel free to go back and listen to those again if you need to. But when I think about like a classroom, and for little guys, I think about like the carpet where everybody's sitting on the carpet. For bigger people, I think about, them sitting at desks. But if you have a class of 20 kids, so think about all those stats in a class of 20 kids, your kid is in that class. Your kid is one of those statistics. Statistically, actually, your kid could be 2 of those statistics. In that class of 20, based on the stats I just read, we would all have one of those statistics with our kids in those classes. And that blew me away. Having 3 kids, I was not okay with that. I do not wish 3 of those stats on our family. And even if I tried to make the less evils of all the stats, which I don't even know which one I'd pick, I don't want any of that for my kids. So what I did is I got to work with my educational research and current brain research. And I created curriculum, formula, roadmap, a guide, whatever you want to call it. And I call it Grow Strong Roots program. And for a while, as a teacher and a parent, I think I kept waiting for somebody bigger than me, more educated than I am, somebody with more authority, more followers, more likes. I don't know. I was waiting for somebody who I thought had more clout to figure this out and implement it. And as I waited and I waited, I finally said, you know what? I can wait around, but I can't wait. I can't wait because I can't let this continually happen to kids. And I can't wait for top down. I can't wait for the government to figure it out. And really, when you think about all the movements that have gone on, all the major movements, they were not top-down movements. They were roots-up movements. And so that's what I've decided I'm going to do. That's my mission. I will shout it from the valley until I climb high enough to shout it from the rooftops. And I hope you join me in shouting this message so that we can stop those statistics for our kids, and we take back and make those healthy brains and bodies that kids need. I'm a figure it out kind of girl, especially when it comes to my kids and my family. I put together what the brain research and studies said about how to wire brains to be happy and successful in life. And it starts from the moment we are born. So the moment we get called up to the majors, and actually it starts before you're born, but we'll talk about that a different day. But if you just think of it from birth on, we have some work to do as parents to help wire those brains for success. So we need to implement the following mind muscle building practices in our kids and ourselves to combat those nasty statistics and wire brains to be the amazing people we're supposed to be and our kids are supposed to be. Okay, so to do those mind muscle building, amazing brain boosting practices, we have to possess 2 key skills. And I will tell you all the secrets right now of those 2 key skills. These skills are the gatekeepers. They are the peeps controlling whether the drawbridge goes up and keeps brain boosters out, or puts the drawbridge down and lets the brain boosters in. The gatekeepers are, drumroll, self-regulation, and your ability to manage your social emotional connections. So self-regulation, in case you're wondering, because that's a big buzzword if you haven't heard it before, self-regulation is defined as controlling one's behavior, emotions, and thoughts in the pursuit of long-term goals. More specifically, emotional self-regulation refers to the ability to manage disruptive emotions and impulses. And you can kind of see why learning this skill early in your game of life would be an important skill. Learning this stops you from some major self-destructive practices. Good self-regulation skills as a kid also means that you as a parent do not have to deal with the Target dollar section meltdown on a regular basis. Just saying. If your kid has good self-regulation skills, they're able to control those emotions, and they're not having on a reg, flat out lay on the ground. Everybody has a bad day, but you get to limit those, which is kind of nice. It also means your kiddo isn't going to spend a lot of time in the principal's office, so getting these skills done early is important. And let's be honest, we see many grown-ups today lacking these skills. I bet you can think of one person right now and they just pop into your brain. Someone who's led by their emotional state, and their day is led by whatever emotions take hold of them. Often these people look like life is happening to them instead of they make the choice of how they are impacting life. So part of my mission in the Rooted Family is to help kids and families feel rooted in knowing that they are the driving force behind their lives and that they have control of how they respond to life. And if you don't think that's an important mind shift, it kind of is the most important mind shift. We need to have the mindset that we are in control of our lives and we make the choices that determine our lives. Otherwise, we're constantly looking for outside validation, which leads to kids feeling insecure, unstable, out of control, stressed, unhappy. As we look around in society, this is not a given that kids recognize this. In fact, we see a lot of kids not recognizing that they have choices on how they want to respond. So we have to teach them as parents how to do this. We have to show them how to do it. And we have to live it ourselves. Society is so anti this idea. So if you want your kids to feel rooted in understanding that their choices and behaviors are being done by them and not to them, we have to teach them to look inward and not be influenced by judgy Judgeville society out there. So we just have to help kids find those roots within themselves. So we learned about gatekeeper number 1, self-regulation. The next gatekeeper who can let us into those brain-boosting values is your social-emotional skills. So social-emotional development includes the child's experience, expression, and management of emotions, and the ability to establish positive and rewarding relationships with others. It encompasses both intra and interpersonal processes, meaning how you feel about yourself and connect with others, and how you connect with yourself, which is, again, kind of a big deal since you share the planet with lots of other human beings. We all need to make sure that we know how to navigate the people soup of this planet. Once we understand what people soup planet navigation looks like, the world gets a lot easier. And I have to give my husband a shout out for people soup, because when he takes our kids up to the pool in the summertime and it's packed, he's always like, oh my gosh, it's like people soup in there, which is kind of what our kids have to navigate in the world, is people soup. So we have to be able to teach them how to do that successfully. And one of the best research ways to build those gatekeepers up, or to make those gatekeepers open the gates for us, is through mindful practice. Oh, you knew it was coming. You knew, you were just waiting for me. You're like, she's going to mention mindfulness eventually. Well, here it is, friends. Mindfulness. Oh, think of it this way. If you don't know how you feel and think, then how are you ever going to understand somebody else? And that's one of our biggest lessons we need to teach our kids, is you got to know yourself to know how to operate in this world. You got to be sure of yourself. And this is what's causing a lot of problems with kids today. We're bombarding them with the message that outside stuff is way cooler or more important or more necessary than inner awareness. And what all the research says is that's just not true. And so we really need to teach our kids that taking a moment, just like we were talking earlier about sitting the bench and doing some self-reflection, that we need to teach our kids that too, to sit the bench and self-reflect and figure out what they want to do about things and how they want to respond. And we'll delve deeper into gatekeepers as this podcast rolls along. It's kind of what I love to talk about. But for now, this is the structure. We are making a greenhouse kind of, so we can grow our little kids with optimal growing conditions, our sprouts, if you want to call them, if you want to stay with the rooted family theme. So let's say you have really strong gatekeepers. The gatekeepers of mindful self-regulation and social emotional learning will open the gates and allow us to bring in some brain boosters. Now, these brain boosters are systems in the brain that, if supported and strengthened, can help you grow strong, healthy brains and bodies. It's what our rooted family tree model is. So if you think about a tree, the brain boosters are like the compost in the soil, the nutrients that are sucked up through the roots of mindful self-regulation and social emotional connection. And this grows strong trees that can't be knocked over by life's storms, by setbacks in life, or by societal pressures, or whatever tornado is going to roll by life next, because life is not perfect. And it's sometimes really easy to float along when it's going well, but if you don't have these things wired in your brain for when your kids come across something difficult or your family goes through some difficulty, it's almost like you're reaching for a lifeline, but you don't have one. So we want to make sure that we give our kids those lifelines for when they need them. Okay, so you want to know what they are, those brain boosters. Okay, twist my arm. I'll tell you. One, because you guys are cute, and because it is the entire crux of my teaching. So winner, chicken dinner for both of us. Okay, so brain boosters. Wiring connections regarding these in the brain will change your life. We will talk more about neurology in future episodes, but if you want to beat the stats, you've got to use brain boosters. And I don't mean just acknowledge that they exist. You have to actively embrace them and practice them. Practice and practice and practice and practice. Just like riding a bike. The first time you get on, it's going to be a little wobbly, and then by the 900th time you've done it, you're like, oh, it's my jam. I got it down. So another drum roll. Here they are. Ready? Kindness towards ourselves and others. Gratitude. Growth mindset, which is also sometimes defined as resilience or perseverance. Courage. Creativity. Respect. Responsibility. And healthy eating and healthy exercise. Now, you do the two gatekeepers, you do the brain boosters, and there's your roadmap. Now, stay with me. If you've just turned into Luke Skywalker and you're thinking, thanks so much, Yoda, for all the Force, but how the heck do I do all that on top of my regular life? Just like Luke, the Force will be revealed, but just in podcast form. That's what we're going to talk about in here. How to do life through the guide of Grow Strong Roots in the Rooted Family. Every week, I'm going to walk you through topics that matter to you as parents and myself as a parent, and we can map it all out together. We'll look at the stats and laugh at the status quo as we, in the words of Robert Frost, take the road less traveled, because that is going to make all the difference. And here's how. Going to give you a couple things as we wrap up today. First, help me by commenting on this podcast. Give me a like. Let me know what you liked or didn't like. Questions, comments, concerns, what you want to talk about, what's going well or not well, and let's work on it. I will pick it as topics. I will have people come in and we will cover different topics, but you got to let me know what you guys want to hear about. To thank you every week, I will pick one comment superstar and give away some cool swag to people who take, because I want to say thank you and be grateful for all the people that do take the moment to comment. I appreciate it. And then if you're living in the Sun Prairie, Madison, Wisconsin area, check out my classes for kiddos and to help muffins learn all the Rooted Family and the Grow Strong Roots program at www.therootedfamily.com. Again, www.therootedfamily.com. Follow me on all the socials. I'm on there. And have me come speak to your group. I love doing workshops that matter. If you go to the community page of therootedfamily.com, you can see some of the topic ideas, but I also love collaboration and co-creation. So holla! And I would love to come talk to your group. All right, so let's all kick the status quo parenting mindset, and we can root, rise, and reach together with our families and our kids. Okay, you guys, I did it. I made it through the first podcast. Thanks for taking the time. Shout out where you are listening from, be it carpool or in my case, probably the doctor's office tomorrow because, oh my gosh, they're not getting better anytime soon. So happy parenting, and I cannot wait to have you join me on this journey. Have a great week, everyone.